Just read it. Who cares? Read the comment.
All right, ready? Here's one. It says, despite what you say and think, Jesus does not approve of illegal immigrants being here. His own words say so. Read your Bible, you misguided, filthy sinner.
They wrote that to you.
They wrote that to me.
Well, how did they know you really well.
I don't know how they talk to my wife. I mean, what's going on?
All right, yeah. So you have more comments like that, or
I got a lot, man.
I got a bunch too. I think it'd be cool. Remember when we started this podcast?
We're like two people,
but we said when they were talking about chisme, like gossip.
I remember that.
We can gossip. This isn't gossip though, because
it's
people
public.
put it online.
It's public.
Let's just put these people on blast that wrote some comments.
All right, their name is ready.
Check the notes on this episode. We're going to link all these people's social media. So we're just going to go through and read some comments from the last few weeks. So you want to start? I got a whole bunch, but
oh man, some of these I can't read. Some of them I can.
You can read them. Just edit them in your. We have a bleep button, don't we?
We do.
Where is it? Okay. Let's see. Oh my god, I want to use it. All right. Come on. You can. Yeah,
hold on. I haven't saved any other ones. Give me one you got.
Okay. I mean, I have a whole bunch of, obviously the mean things that people say to me. Is it one of those?
Those. I got some. Yeah. I got some directed to me. I got some directed to.
Okay. But first we say that. Let's just so people can understand that are listening.
Okay. Give some context.
No, one of the things in context, I'm sure a lot of things we'll say right now. But the other day when we ran into Mr. Bovino in the street and all that happened. Okay. We were driving to the car after, and my wife wrote me, and she was like, David, you have to say something. I'm like, what are you talking about? To say something. People are asking questions like, why were you on the street with the Bovino guy? And like, are you okay? Or like, are you on the other side now? Or like, what?
Do I need to be afraid?
We don't. No, I'm like, stop. We don't need to say anything. And you look at me and you're like, yes, we need to say something.
We need to say something like, right away.
But the thing is, for me, because this has been years of social media stuff. Yeah. People write crazy stuff. And in the beginning, when I would read those comments, I would like lose sleep over it. And like, oh my gosh, what do they think? Maybe I need to explain myself better, or maybe I need to post something else. And I would freak out. And then over the years, no, it's not that big of a deal. But then I saw you that day.
And I never freak out. Yeah. I'm never overthinking.
And I do.
I know.
And I was
so
like,
we switched
I was
that
like,
day.
Chill out, bro. Like, it's cool, man.
I was in the car like, we got to post something. There was a lot of cameras. Everyone's going to ask questions.
All right. So yeah, that's just good for people to understand.
Right.
There's, over the years, I've learned like, people say crazy stuff.
Right.
But I do think it would be good for people listening or watching because not everybody reads or sees everything. Right. It'd be good for them to hear. And I mean this in a good way, not like I'm joking, like gossip way, but like for them to hear us read the comments that are directed to us, and then hear how we process it and react to it. You know what I'm saying? And notice that we didn't like respond to these people online in a petty way, although you probably wanted to.
Oh, of course I did. I'm still a human, yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that would be good. And then also, I think it's good because it can spark some conversation about a lot of things. Because people say controversial things.
Right. So
you got any?
Come on, read it. I got one directed to Bovino.
What button is it?
No, it's not a curse word. It's directed to Bovino. I just thought it was funny.
Okay, go.
He said, I don't know why Buddy acts tough with a 4-year-old haircut. It was just silly comment. I thought it was funny. No, you got one directed to you?
I mean, yeah, I have a whole bunch. I got a whole bunch. I got people in English and Spanish, and people that say nice things, people that say mean things. I got... let's see. Well, first, I can tell you that I got a bunch of comments the day that we did run into Bovino on the street of people writing, comments and text messages.
Right.
Asking me, like, if I had been arrested.
Really? But
like,
you white.
I know, exactly. But okay, this is going to sound, people who don't know me are going to be like, what? He's crazy. But it made me
just so you know I am white.
It made me feel like,
I'm in the family.
It made me feel good that they know that, like, obviously that's not what was happening, but they know that even if it had to go that far, that I would let it go that far. Because that's
absolutely,
how much I'm in this.
I believe you.
You know what I mean? So that part, made me feel good. Let me see. I mean, the comments I have that I screenshot right here, but they're more like, they're kind of, I'll read them in a little bit because they're a little more serious. But I can read one here. Somebody wrote on the post about us the day we ran into Bovino.
Yeah.
And it was about that, and the whole post. If you haven't seen it, read the post that you wrote.
Right.
Just basically saying what happened and how it was an experience and all that. And the person wrote, "Okay, so what? What difference does it make? What difference does it make what his faith is?" Because we wrote in the thing that he said he was a Christian, and he says he's just doing his job like you would do your job. This is ridiculous. So I would be honest. The first thing I thought when I read that comment was, well, sure, like everybody has a job or whatever, but if my faith has to affect the way I do my job,
and what job you have,
and so this is crazy because if you feel dumb to have to like say this, but like the border patrol position, the job is necessary in whatever country.
I agree.
Nobody is like, no, we have to just.
Open
I mean, there
door.
are some people who are like, yeah, let's everybody. We're not talking about that. Of course, you have to secure borders, all those things. But like the way you do your job, and there's a whole bunch of other things that I'll probably get into in a little bit as we talk about this. But just the bottom line, the most basic thing, the way you do your job. If I'm a Christian, it's going to affect how I do my
100%.
job. Right.
Every interaction, every conversation.
Yeah, and so it does matter. And that could be, obviously we're talking about the border patrol stuff, but that could be like if I work at a bank and my boss is like, hey, fudge the numbers a little bit over here.
You're like,
whoa, time out.
Yep.
Right? That's going to affect how I do a job. You're not going to go, well, yeah, just do it because you're just doing your job. Right?
Correct.
And so if I'm a border patrol agent and I have the option of being kind or infusing fear into someone.
Right.
And I could do my job, the function of my job can continue, but I can do it in a lovingly kind way. Right? In certain interactions, or I can be overwhelmingly viral and controversial and make people feel afraid, and including children. I have those two options, and I'm a Christian, and that's my job. If my mind doesn't go, my faith affects how I do my job, right?
Yeah.
Or I just say, well, no, that's my job, right? That's insane to me. That's crazy, and it's crazy that people who call themselves Christians and Christ followers will use that excuse to say, well, he's just doing his job. Like, that's scary to me. It's scary to me because it makes me think about the fact that there's a lot of self-professing Christians that, like the Bible's obvious about it, like by your fruit, don't know, and their lack of fruit, their lack of Christ likeness is like, man, you don't even have to comment stuff. Just the way you're living is showing that, like, I don't know how well you know him.
I mean, it is obvious if you are, I don't know, living for Christ. It should be obvious. But if it's open to interpretation, like, this guy's bringing terror to my kids. Oh, wait, he's a Christian?
Yeah.
Whoa, something doesn't add up there.
Yeah.
Behavior-wise, meaning even the way that they approach, and I mean, it affects every single thing that you do.
Yeah.
If you're a believer.
Right. Yeah.
It should.
Right.
But we're not seeing that.
Correct. You got more comments? Come on.
I have one.
Come on, I want to use, is this the button?
Yes.
All right.
This is a funny one.
Okay.
It meant to be a compliment, but I think what y'all did was awesome, bro. But straight up, just a bunch of curse words, right? And he said, I hate to even sound like this on your post because you're saying great things, but for real, that guy. Just funny. But no, I had some really directed towards me. Probably you too. They probably think you're Argentinian or something, bro.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I'm going to take it. Let me find one. Hold on. You have it. Find another one for you.
The ones that I have right here are like more like people writing and saying very detailed stuff about why they're appreciative of what's going on.
I didn't get that. I hope you get deported. And then a really bad word after that.
Somebody wrote that to you?
To me, directly. You want her name? Okay. God said, obey the laws of the land, go cry a river somewhere else. I got that one.
Oh, yeah, I've gotten that one.
I got that one.
Yeah. You want to talk about that? Because I could talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Obey the laws of the land and go cry a river somewhere else.
Romans 13.
100%.
That's what we're talking about.
That's exactly what they're talking about.
Right. And I mean,
you mentioned something really cool about that. Go ahead.
So there's a lot of things. And I think it's important to talk about because it's something that is a topic of conversation. And I think a healthy conversation, honestly. I do think that it's a privilege of ignorance for someone like a Christian. And I don't mean in a malicious way. Like if they're like, hey, yes, I'm looking at this whole situation, but Romans 13 says this, so that's it. Like meaning like it's a black and white situation. Like just that's the way it is, obey the law and done. Right? That shows, I say ignorance, privilege of ignorance, because I don't think it's said out of maliciousness. I don't think, and a lot of times that people are mean or like trying to hurt people when they say it. And I think that's why their reaction is like, well, why don't you just
follow? Yeah. Comply.
And so they don't understand the complexity of that. And the reason they don't understand the complexities of that is because the life that they're privileged to live has not prevented them or presented them with the necessity of understanding, like why this is complicated.
But it'll be great for them to say, okay, I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. Okay, so let's go to the it's funny, the GoFundMe thing, right? That went off in our community, and I say our community, but I mean, I saw people that were
from like different states,
different countries, bro. Like that wrote me, it was cool to see. That the thing that really like, I think just us really know the reason why it popped off so much, but I find it ironic. Right? Going back to just the obey the law comment. Right. I'll show you how it ties in.
It all kind of started with
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so I had posted the GoFundMe link, and it was just saying, like, basically, look, our community, immigrant community, and it's funny if you think about it. I didn't even say Hispanic immigrant community. I said just immigrant community because that includes anybody.
Sure, absolutely.
Like if you whatever color your skin that's not white. Honestly, literally, let's be honest, because they're like being affected by it. And what I mean by that is it's people that have even legal status.
Yeah.
Right?
Work permits, all that.
I had a guy on the West Bank that he's Muslim. He reached out to me. He gave us $1,000 for food for people. And he said, look, our people are being affected too, but most of our people have legal residency here, but they're being affected just because the way they look. And we identify and we just want to let your people know like that we care. And I was like, dang.
That's cool.
Like,
that's cool.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of, I'm saying all that to say, if someone heard my cry for help for immigrants and their first thought was they're just illegal, right? Even that like just shows you they don't listen well. Right. And I say that because I posted a GoFundMe, right? Yeah. Just explaining the need and saying if you want to help, this is our situation and people need help, right? And I posted it like in the morning, whatever day it was, and I got like 2 likes. That was it. Because I've learned over the years, like especially like on any social media platform like Facebook, if you post a link to anything that takes if they click the link and it's going to take them out of Facebook,
the app,
Facebook won't promote that link. It won't be like algorithm worthy because they know, people see it. They're going to click the link and they're going to leave Facebook. Out of the app. Yeah. And so that affects Facebook, right? So any link, that's why you'll see people post, you're learning about social media right now. They'll post a video about something and they'll say the link is in the comments. Because if you put the link in the actual post, Facebook doesn't push the post out because it's a link. Anyway, so I say all that to say, that's why I posted the GoFundMe. It had like 2 likes, right? And honestly, I didn't even think about it.
Right.
And later on that day, it had like 2 likes. I think it had $800 that people had given, which I was like, this is amazing, right? In the moment. And some lady, I think she lives here, around here in New Orleans area. I don't know who she is. We're not friends on Facebook, so I don't even know how.
Okay. Yeah. So it just happened. Somebody probably shared it and she saw it.
Yeah. And so she wrote something like, I don't get why you're trying to support illegals when we have American citizens that are in need. And it was like a whole bunch of stuff, right? And I didn't respond to it because just even that comment, like she obviously didn't listen to the explanation of the need for the GoFundMe. So I just left it alone and I didn't even look at it. Maybe a few hours later, I pull up my phone, it has a bunch of like notifications. So I open it up and there's a bunch of people like going back and forth with this lady in the comments, like just trying to explain to her. And they're actually pretty kind, to be honest. When I looked at them, just trying to explain to her like, hey, maybe you should go back and re-watch the video or, and all these things. And she just kept doubling down, right? Instead of being like, oops, let me understand the context a little more. No, she just kept doubling down.
Or ask questions.
And so somebody said to me, like, you're not going to comment? And I was like, I don't care. Like, honestly. So all I wrote, and genuinely, I appreciate you sharing your opinion or something like that. Genuinely.
Sharing your thoughts. Because
it is your opinion. Cool. That's the whole point. We can all share our opinions, even if we disagree. Not a big deal. That's all it was. And then she doubled down. She wrote back and said, like, and it's a comment on Facebook, right? She wrote back and said something like, I feel like you're being sarcastic to me or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, who is this person? Like I literally went and started looking at the pictures like, I have no idea who this person is. And I was like, I'm not writing back, right? And I'm sitting there, it's funny, I'm sitting there with my son, Max, and he's like, write back. And I'm like, no, I'm not writing back. He's like, no, write back something just like try to explain to her more. I'm like,
right. Did you?
I wrote back and just said like, hey, I apologize if you think I'm being sarcastic. We're writing text on a screen. Like I've never spoken to you before in real life. So you don't know what my voice sounds like. I don't know what your voice sounds like. I don't I'm not going to overinterpret what you are trying to say without just from text on the screen, basically. I posted it, went to bed, right? That morning, the following morning, I woke up. The post had way more comments because people kept going. And the GoFundMe had gone from like $800 to like $12,000 overnight, right? And then the only thing I could think to post to that lady was, hey, like, ironically, thank you, because this post had like 2 likes, and then your interaction with it like boosted the algorithm to support these illegal families or these families that you are questioning about supporting, basically. So I say all that because her original comment was basically, if we put it in a nutshell, was just obey the law, right? You shouldn't be helping illegals because they don't deserve help. They shouldn't even be here, basically, which just shows ignorance. So the reason I say that is I can give a specific example about how the comment of just obey the law, just do it the legal way, insinuates that it's just very simple. Obey the law. Like it's not. Not complicated.
I'm assuming in a lot of people's mind, it's kind of like just going to the DMV to get your license, or
correct.
Going to get. Oh, you need a real ID. Just go turn in this paperwork. Real ID. You got it.
Yeah. So the girl that was in the news, and it's unfortunate. It should be in the news all the time, right? But everything comes and goes as things go viral. But she was DACA, meaning DACA. If you don't know, means that you were basically brought here as a minor, So you were brought here and. Your parents don't have legal status, but basically the DACA says that you have the right to be here and not be in illegal standing with the country because, that's a very simple way to put it. So this girl was DACA, and then I think she was going out of town or something on a plane, and she got stopped. And I think it was at the airport, and they were like basically saying, you have a deportation order because you're in the country illegally. And then eventually, through court, and she got deported to Honduras.
Jeez.
But I'm saying all that because people commented saying, oh, how old is she? She's 20. She's a college student. Well, she had 15 years to get her paperwork in order, right? And so even that is an ignorant comment because like you said, people think, you just go down to the office and sign a paper and then you just, do the thing, you pay your money and you're in legally. No, that's not how it works. So the comment of just do it the legal way assumes that number one, it assumes that there is a simple legal way. And then number two, it assumes that it's just a very like black and white, simple process. Just do it. Or if you can't do it, then don't come. Right. But it's not like that. So I'll give a very specific example, like kind of give a scenario that explains it. So one of the ways that people can come legally out of necessity to the United States is through asylum, right? The word asylum basically like kind of means like sanctuary, meaning like a safe place. For someone. So, but just think practically for a moment. Like if I'm in a place where I need help, I need asylum, right? I need sanctuary. I need a safe place. If I'm in a place, if I need that, then that logistically, like just practically means where I'm at currently is not safe.
Correct.
Right? Just thinking the most basic. Yeah. So imagine I scream for help in that unsafe place. Well, the only way for me to get help is if someone in the safe place hears me, right? And says,
hey, come here, we got you.
Yeah. Right? Okay. I'm giving that as a very basic understanding of it. Because let's say I'm, and this is a real thing. I'll just give it in a general way, but this is stories that I know of, personal stories, look at people. Let's say I'm a person in Honduras and I own a business, right? And in my particular community, there's a gang that kind of like handles stuff, right? And kind of runs things.
Yeah.
And there's not enough police to do anything about it. And not only is there not enough police to do anything about it, the police are in on it too. Yeah. And so let's say they start coming to my business and they say, hey, every 2 weeks we're going to show up and you have to give us a percentage of your earnings. If you do that, then we'll make sure nobody robs your business and we'll keep everything safe on your block, right? And so you're like, I don't want to do this, but I have no other choice. And so you do it for a month, 2 months, 3 months. And you're like, man, this isn't even, I'm going to go bankrupt. Like I can't even do this. So you say like, hey, I can't do this anymore, right? I don't want to do this. This isn't right. And they say, okay, cool, fine. You don't want to do it? Well, we'll just kidnap your family member or we'll cut your finger off or whatever, right?
And they will do it.
And they'll do it. And so the person says, well, I'll go to the police, right? The problem is the police are in on it, right? And so you can't go. And let's say even if the police weren't in on it, the police aren't going to do anything. Mm-mm. And so just save that nugget of information in your brain because it's going to come into play in a second with what I'm about to say in the future. So imagine that person says, well, I have no avenue for help, right? Not only my local government politically,
down,
like won't help me, right? And not only that, they're actually against me, and they're contributing to my danger, my need for help, and my need for safety. And so I say, well, my only option is to find a safe place. And people will say, well, why don't you go to a neighboring country of Honduras? Well, that's like saying I'm in trouble in Louisiana, I'm gonna go to Mississippi and I'll be fine, right? Like
same thing. Yeah.
You know, don't work like that. There's, you know, so obviously historically the United States, and even I say this historically, meaning like for a long time, and then also not only is it just a known fact, it was a promoted fact. That Statue of Liberty's
place,
the lemma. I don't know what the word is in English. What is the phrase that says, "Give us your tired, give us your poor."
Right,
like
right.
if you're
if you need help, whatever,
like come, like we'll help you. And that's just like if you need like just financial help or you want to get a step up in life. But like even more so, if you need safety, like we're here for you. We'll help you. All right. So imagine I'm that guy in Honduras, and I'm like, that's my only option. Well, legally, for me to be able to get that help and that safety, I have to physically be. Like going back to the example of what if imagine I cry for help, I have to be in the vicinity of where the people
can hear me
will help me. And so legally, your feet, literally, you have to cross the border.
Right.
You have to cross the border.
Right. Because just to get a visa to fly in is nearly impossible.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about someone who doesn't even have that ability.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
And so they need help. And so that means I got to travel, whatever it is, risking life and death, like to get to the border. I cross the border. And I don't cross the border and then run and hide. I cross the border and I cross at a border and I say, I'm here, I need help. I'm turning myself, like, I'm not turning myself in like I'm a criminal. I'm turning myself in saying,
I'm reporting
here
myself.
Please help me. And you guys are a safe place, help me. So historically what has happened, the United States says, yes, we'll help you, historically. And you'll come in and they'll process you and they'll get all your information and all these things. And like, they'll get you where you're staying, they'll get your address. Sometimes they'll even like
give them ankle bracelet,
to make sure like, you know, okay.
That they follow through,
And they'll give them, you know, the information and then they'll get their first court case, right? And so this just shows the complicated and crazy situation that it is in and of itself, to where that historically, even that process has taken such a long time. So let's say I'm that guy, I'm here, I go to my first court case, they're like, all right, we just want to make sure you're living in this place, you're doing this, you're doing that. You have someone here that can support you. Let's say they don't. Like in a lot of ways, they can get a temporary like work permit so they can work and support themselves and be okay and actually contribute, pay taxes, but not even get any benefit from those taxes. Like that's a whole nother conversation. But say all those things are happening, and then that time that I'm presenting in like scheduled court cases, right? Every 6 months or whatever the time period is. Let's say the time period turns into a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I'm here. Let's say I meet someone. Like I'm a guy and I meet a girl. She's an American citizen. And we get married. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Great. Get married. We have kids. Right? And I'm still presenting my court case. I'm trying to get an adjustment of status now because I'm doing everything correctly, legally. Right? And
according to what was
and I kept using the word historically. Now go back to the nugget that I gave you about the police report. Mm-hmm. A lot of people go into these asylum cases and you have to show proof. Right? And one of the major things of proof is you have to show a police report. Right? Well, how am I going to get a police report from a police that's corrupt, a police that's against me back in my home country? Right. That's one thing. That's a whole other conversation. But what is that doing? That's showing ignorance on a person's part that says, well, just do it the legal way. If you're going to be asylum, we'll show proof. Meaning like I'm applying my context in a safe suburban American neighborhood. Like what would happen to me if a gang came to do that to me? I would be helped in immediately. There'd be a million police reports. It'd be in the news. I would have all this proof. Right? Yeah. Well, it's not like that back there.
They can have video evidence and everything.
Yes, it's not like, and so I'm just giving that to show that it's even more complicated than people think. But now imagine we're in the series of situations that we're in now currently in our country, and virally, intentionally, our own government, through their own social media pages, has chosen to promote the fact that many people with pending asylum cases that are showing up for their historically scheduled court cases are being detained and deported. Not just detained and deported same day. Some are being detained for months or a long time, separated from their children, all those things. Now, imagine all that. And I'm that guy, and I've been here forever. I'm married. I got kids, and I know that next week I got my regularly scheduled appointment. And I say, what if I go and they take me?
My kids don't.
So then let's say, what do I do? And I would say that guy, because there have been people, says, I can't go. I'm not going to go. Oof. The moment you don't go,
done.
You are now illegal because you have a deportation order because you didn't show up for your. Okay, so are you illegal? Technically, yes, you are. Have you broken the law? Yes, you have. Now you have, right? But why have you broken the law? You've broken a law because our own country has broken laws their own laws to violate people's rights, right? That have been doing things the legal way. And so what's happening? They're breaking a law in order to enforce a law. So that means the person that just arbitrarily says, well, just obey the law. Number one, they don't understand all those things that I just shared. And that's just one little example of a million different examples. And the other thing is, if they do, and they're like, well, that's just the way it is. What they're saying is, okay, it's okay to break that law as long as you enforce the law that I want you to enforce, right? Which is called selective legalism.
So it's exposing what's really
and
the true desire.
Right. And so what should happen? What should be the people ask, well, what's the answer? The answer, it's complicated, but the first answer is that our own government would say, well, time out. There's a problem. This immigration system is broken. It's not working.
For decades.
Like we're having to violate certain people's rights in order to enforce other ones. And like, this is not okay. Like we need to fix this. Pause. Time out. Right? Let's fix this. We don't need to be just going to the streets and just grabbing. Like this is not okay. Right? That would be what leadership would say. Whoa, wisdom, grace. People say we're a Christian nation. We're not a Christian nation. We're a nation based on biblical values. I mean, when I say based on, it was founded upon. But even those biblical values, meaning like everybody's made in the image of God. And so like, time out. We're not enemies. You might actually be here illegally, but part of that is our fault because like our immigration system's broken. Let's fix this. But why don't they?
That's a great question.
I mean, the deep answer, well, the surface answer is because both sides, when I say both sides, Republican, Democrat, everybody benefits from the illegal immigrant financially in some way, right? And then there's just a lot of things. And so what happens is I see it as Isaiah 10 talks about like, woe to you who enact unjust laws or oppress people, oppress the poor and the widow, meaning that can happen to someone going back to the example, that can happen to someone in that asylum example. Because at the end of the day, if you compare that person to a like person who's been here for generations and generations, has a great grandfather that was part of the United States, and they have all this generational wealth and status, and they've been to all these universities and la la la. If something illegal or unjust would happen to that person's great grandson that exists today, there would be uproar. Because why? Sure. That person has status. That person has a voice. That person is seen. But your average immigrant, right, who has been here and is doing things correctly, like their voice is very soft, if not non-existent. And so it's easy to just do those things. And to me, when I read the scripture, I'm like, whoa, time out. To me, I don't see the person that's been here for generations and has billions of dollars as more worthy or valuable than the person who's been here maybe from 10 years ago, but they've been doing things maybe not the way you think they should, but the legal avenue that was available to them, they did it and they've been doing it. That person is the same. That person is the same value. And so, yeah.
I think something you mentioned in one of our conversations recently was the misguided instruction and message of this country to illegal immigrants, in a sense, or just anyone coming into this country has been a double standard, and now they're leaning more one side. One side is at one point saying help wanted, right? Yep. Everyone come in, we need your help, come do the work. That's why everything shut down. Construction, hotel, everything. Yeah. Right. And then now, the other hand, no more help wanted.
Yeah.
Now you can go.
And even more detailed than that is, imagine, this is just like a general circumstance, but imagine I'm an immigrant. I come to the border and it's like, it's not like this, but it is like this. Imagine two big signs, one that says help wanted, and then one that says do not enter or keep out. Yeah. Right.
You're like, what?
Our government, and I don't mean just now, historically, in the last many decades, has known that those two messages are put out there, right? 100%. And they've just been like, well, come on, right? But now you're at the point where it's like, no, right? But your own government has allowed it. Whether you want to talk about legality and all that, but you've allowed it. And so now you can't just be like, well, you know what? No.
It's like breaking the lease on a renter. It's like you can't just kick them out the next day. Yep. Like you got to... It's do things right. I know it is. It is. But that's like we're dealing with all that right now.
Yeah. And so again, there's no perfect answer. There's no one like answer. There's no perfect answer. There's no perfect like scenario where it's like I know somebody's gonna listen to this right now and go, "Oh my God, I'm wrong.
I changed my opinion."
I get that, but at least go like, okay, I can at least admit it isn't as simple as just being like obey the law, because the law in of itself is complicated and broken 100%. In our own country.
And I think a success that I've seen, this in spite of all the hate and all the, I have a really good one that I can read later. But I have seen comments that have left me like, man, God is doing something. Mm-hmm. Even people that I know where they stand wrote, this has me thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a win. Like, that's cool.
Yep.
Like, I'm always open to being wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is 100% in everything besides the gospel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 100%. But I consider that a win.
Going back to that comment about that person that popped off the GoFundMe.
Right.
One of the things that made me comment, because I wasn't going to, was that there was a line there, I think at the end of one of her rants or whatever she said, and it said that I think the very last line said, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
Yeah. And I literally, when she read that, I was like, and I think I wrote it, I said, like, how different would things be if everybody ended every sentence with that?
Or started the sentence like that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Even me though. I'm not saying just you. I'm saying, like, and so I've had some really cool, like you said, and these are the things that won't go viral or won't be seen online. No. But I can tell people, like, I've had numerous, I mean, I've always had these, but even more so now, conversations where people call me and be like, David, okay, I know you. I love you. Like, I know your heart. I know you love the Lord. And I'm seeing what's on social media and what's going out online, but I'm also hearing what you're saying. I'm calling you to ask you, like, what's up? Explain it to me.
That's cool.
And I'm like,
yeah, that's cool.
Thank you so much. Right?
Yeah.
Like that.
I've had the same thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I know people aren't going to hear those things. That's going to go viral. But that is what, even myself, like, we should all do that. Like, imagine if we all did that. How cool that would be.
Like, everything that happens in the world and people ask me questions about it, I always say, I don't know enough.
Yeah.
Like, let me ask questions first. I just don't know enough. But not everyone thinks that way.
Going back to, it's crazy how this just, in and of itself, it shows how division and hate and everything in the world, even of itself, points to the truth of the gospel and the truth of, like, even the church's existence, right? So social media is a good, like, example of the opposite of the way things should be. So I'll give you the example. Mm-hmm. Let's say, a church exists, and we'll use our church. So we have different people from different countries, different generations, right? Like, different ages, different backgrounds, socioeconomic, all that. And you didn't walk into your church and go, I'm going to choose to be a church member with this person, and all look like me, sound like me, and act like me, and all that, right? No, once you're in,
you're
in, and it's a family, right? And you didn't choose it. It's even more, technically, it's more beautiful than a biological family, because you don't choose your biological family, right? It's like saying, hey, and what does that mean? It means that you are at the table with people from different backgrounds, all those different things. And so I can come to that table and I might give my opinion based on scripture, even my interpretation of things. And I'll say it. And it's a safe place for those other people around the table to say, I hear you, but let me give you, and it's not saying, let me tell you what this means based on my emotions or my background. Right. No. It's let's like collectively work together to, like, refine what God is saying of what through His word, not based on our emotions, but really based on our life experience, where we have learned things and we have wisdom, because there's wisdom in those numbers, and you're able to do that. And that's beautiful, and that's the way it should be. And it's not always a perfect conversation, and it involves conflict and resolving that conflict but all those things. But at the end of the day, we can be completely different, but the thing that unifies us is Christ. Cool. Right. The opposite of that is social media, where you have those same statements from different people, from different backgrounds, all that, but they're coming in and they're saying it, but what do they not have? They don't have any unifying factors. They don't have Christ. Mm-mm. They don't know each other. They don't love each other. And so all it does is create more and more division, right? So at the same time, when the world becomes more and more divided, the church should become more and more united. There is going to come a moment, and I think it's happening. It's happened with me. It's happened with us right now, where people, like you said, they'll go, whoa, time out. What are y'all doing that's different? Why? Like, I see a white dude that like is from Mississippi, right? Like, just bearded out and just not your typical person you would imagine standing next to a Honduran immigrant that's been here for 5 years and they're friends. What is going on?
That's beautiful.
It's like, nothing's going on. It's just Jesus, Yeah. And that's the way it should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have more comments?
I do.
Read it. Go on.
I got what's funny is that I read these, and I shouldn't, but I do. I go to their profile. And you know what I always find funny is that usually the profile picture,
Christ follower.
is Christ followers with a big cross. I found one guy that's even a deacon.
All right, let's
this
go.
is what he wrote. He said, "We fully support what's happening, and the American people have their back. You beat button you with them.
This is the deacon?
Yeah. He says, you with them, we will find you, hunt you down like the wild animal that you are, and handle business. You do know it's deer season, right?"
Oh my Wow. Okay.
I thought about calling their church and be like, "Hey, buddy, yo, deacon over here." I'm just
no. If a person is able to be a deacon at a church like that, it's because they all think the same thing.
100%, yeah. So
Sadly.
But
wow.
It should. I mean, you figured it's crazy, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it all comes down to it makes me think about the 2 Timothy 3. I think it is. Where the Bible talks about in the end, there's going to be hate, like unexplainable hate.
Right.
I think this is just a example of that. Like there's hate where it's just like, man, because again, no, I'm not saying that that deacon dude ain't listening to this podcast, right? I mean, that ain't gonna happen. But let's imagine he did, right? He's not gonna at the end go, "Oh, my bad," or like, "Let me call this guy and apologize," right? Okay, because there's hate. There's hate that's just like it blinds you. Right. It blinds you to like you don't care about. You just legitimately don't care.
Yeah.
Like you don't even want to know. You don't want to know somebody's story. You don't want to know. You don't care. You just see them as not even a human.
Animal.
And so if you're able to do that, then and this isn't like my opinion, like just the same Bible that we all read makes it very clear that you don't know Jesus. Like you don't know God. Right? And as terrible as that sounds, it also reinforces, well, what's the answer? The answer is it's always going to come back to knowing him, right? To knowing God.
Not about him.
Correct.
Not facts about him,
but
knowing him.
That knowing him is the answer for that dude that wrote you that terrible comment, but it's also the answer for the dude that wrote us and said, like, I get that y'all are pastors and trying to pray for, the enemy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
But that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like both need to understand the answer isn't
hate. It's not.
Because this is the bottom line and people don't like to hear this. There's no us and them. There's no good guys and bad guys. We're all bad.
We're all bad people.
In our own way.
In need of a savior, man.
Yeah. And so as terrible it is, and I've literally thought of this a lot of times in life, but just over the past few weeks, being exposed to such hate, I've thought in the middle of it, even more like just understanding and convinced of, wow, the gospel really is the answer. Mm-hmm. Like that's the only thing. And you would think you would be disheartened and like, oh man, these things are terrible. And they are, but I'm like filled with joy, unexplainable hope, because it makes me go,
peace,
okay,
man. Because you could read these things, and I think Josue of a few years ago would be really affected.
Oh yeah,
but man, I don't know, man. The closer I get to, the more I understand the gospel, the more I'm spending time with Jesus. The more I read things, I'm just like, man, they just need Christ, like for real, and it hurts me. Like it doesn't even get me as mad as it normally would.
Yeah.
I got another one that says, "I hope you get deported," and then it has a.
Oh God.
Yes, I hope you get deported. That word. But yeah, I mean, but in the same time as we were seeing like a whole bunch of different craziness, we have seen God show up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In so many ways. Not even just in the GoFundMe and being able to. How many families have we been able to help?
I think like at this point, I have to like sit down and look at it. We've tried to I don't want to say try. We have been very intentional about keeping exact like numbers and record of like the people. I think the number of families that have been rent has been paid, whether it be December and January or both December and January. I think it's like 36 families, which you hear that.
20.
I know, but you hear that and you go like, oh. In my mind, I think somebody who doesn't hear that, like doesn't know what's going on, they're like, But I'm like, sit down and do the math for a second. Like rent's freaking
and I think they need to understand that we are an infant of a church.
Yeah, I've joked with people like online. I'm like, I think you think we have like thousands of people in this church.
Yeah.
When we first started, maybe there was like, a good 300. But over the
everything that's happening,
everything that's going on, we had like 80 people, like last week in the Spanish service. What I'm saying is like, if there's any way to financially help people, is because God is like providing through people's generosity. Right. And so I want to say it's 36. It might even be 37 rent payments, which is over I think the total that was given so far in the GoFundMe, like after taxes and stuff, is like $49,000 or something.
Wow.
It's right around there, 50. And so even that 37, you're like right up at 50 already. And so I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, man, God has been really gracious, because even with that, our original goal was to give 250 food bags.
I remember
one
that.
time to 250 families with food for about 3 weeks to a month, right? That was the idea.
That, yeah.
We started and we did it. 250 families, like we did that, right? But then
Quick.
we look around and it's like, whoa, there's still food here. Like we can keep going.
And people are still hungry.
And so we kept going, and it got up to, I want to say like total, I don't know exact numbers, because there's, try to keep exact, but there's a bit, whatever I'm saying, this number, there's more because people were still out like helping and giving. But it was like, it got up like 800, 850 or so. Wow. I think now, like as of this point, it's probably almost 1,000. And I don't say that to sound like 1,000 people, because the first thing I think about is that we got to 1,000, and that means the first 250 needed again. So it's like, my mind is like, there's no like win in the sense of like, yay, we did it, and it's over, because food runs out, and it goes back to the gospel. So every food bag's been given out. It's like, yes, this is great. You have food for a month. Blessings, right? Yeah. But if you don't know Jesus, like, that's it. Like, that's why he's the bread of life. That's not just bread. That's right. Because he who eats of him or drinks of him will never go hungry or be thirsty again, because that's what he's saying, right? And so that's been really cool. And then there's been crazy times. The other day, I was about to post a video saying, hey, everybody, like, this is it. We come to the end of our funds. We've come to the end of all of our donations. I just want to thank everyone for just your help and how things have been great. It's been amazing. I went outside to film it, and it was windy, and I go up against a wall, right? Because I'm trying to like shield the wind, and it's just too windy. I'm like, this ain't gonna work. So I'm turning around, and I take like 5 steps into the little parking lot, and I'm going to get in my car. I'm gonna sit in my car and close the door and make the same video saying like, hey, everyone, we've come to the end. Thank you. Right? And I look, and a car pulls in, opens the back door, and there's enough donations to get the rest of the food out for that day and the next day. And I was really convicted to be like, okay. Because my mind was looking at, well, the funds are running out, so that means it's over. But
you're just doing the math. Yeah,
but then people kept giving. And then the following day, a lady that I hadn't spoken to for like, I don't know, dude, like 15 years. Like, been a long time. I think the last time I saw her was when I was still living in Guatemala. And like, we came here to visit for like a few weeks, and I saw her. And she randomly reached out on Facebook and was like, hey, I see what you're doing. Our church in Mississippi has raised some money, and we're going to drive down some donations that we have for you. I saw your food list, and we want to provide. That's cool. I was like, whoa. And she's coming down, and then I was like, whoa, wait. And I told her, I was like, my dad lives a little closer to you, so like, you don't have to come all this way. And so she ended up bringing everything to my dad. And
that's
the
cool.
day that we were closing the
shop
to be like, all right, we're done, and this is over, my dad pulled in, and he's like, no, because I didn't know he was coming at that time. Yeah, and he brought everything. It was exactly what we needed to keep going. And that's continued.
And everything we were missing too. It was
exactly.
Crazy.
It was like everything we were missing,
Insane,
and that's continued. And so, in a minute I'll share the other story about that. But one other one that just continues to blow me away. I don't know, want me to tell me that.
Go ahead. Let's go. Come on.
There was I think it was like a Monday, and a lady that you and I know her from a few years ago. I hadn't seen her in many years. She reached out and said, hey, what's the donations and serving the community looking like on Tuesday? Because I'm free on Tuesday. And I said, awesome. Like, yeah, we could use your help. She said, all right, I'm coming in from like, she lives like an hour away. She's like, so I'm coming in. I was like, awesome. I haven't seen her in years. I'm nothing. I'm just expecting her to show up and help. So we're there. She pulls up in her truck, and her truck is filled with donations, like food stuff. Enough to like definitely get food out to people, like a lot that day. Also $500 cash. She's like, here's for more food. I'm just like amazed, right? She gets out, and I see her, and I'm like, she looked different, I'll be honest. And she was like, yeah, like I have stage 4 cancer. Just letting you know. I was like, oh. And then she said, but I'm okay. I'm here, I feel okay, and I'm gonna help. And I'm just like, okay. It really, I'll be honest, I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right. And then she's there, and she's working, and I kept like trying to take the bags from her, and she was telling me to stop. She's like, no, stop. I got it. I'm doing it. I'm like, okay, cool. And then in the course of the day, as we're like filling bags and getting things ready to deliver, she starts kind of like sharing more about her story. And she shared how this was the last week of December, right? Ish. And she's like, yeah, 2 months ago in October, I was in the hospital. My eyes were closing for the last time. I was saying goodbye to my family, and I was at peace, and I was like, this is it. And I'll be with Jesus, and, see you. And literally like, it was over. closed her eyes and said she woke up the next day in the hospital, still alive, and was feeling a little better. She told the doctor, like, I want to go home and die. And the doctor's like, no, you can't. If you go home, you're going to die. She's like, I don't care. I'm going home. She went home. The next day, she's still alive. Next day, she's still alive. She's still alive. And she started feeling a little better. And that was 2 months ago. Jeez. And she's still here. She still has cancer. She still has stage 4 cancer. Still getting chemo every week. Still has operations that are like scheduled to happen. And she was there that day in the warehouse, serving the immigrant community, making bags, went to deliver. She was like, where do people not really want to go and deliver? Because I'll go. And she takes the bags and goes. Jeez. And I thought she was done for the day. She came back. She's like, I'll take more. She goes again, right? And then she starts telling me at the very end there, right before we're about to leave, and we're going to pray for her. It was just amazing. She was saying how, she's like, and you know, it was beautiful. Like, you know how when somebody shares something and you're like, they're sharing it, it's not them. It's like God in them. Like, she's not sharing it as like how great she is. It's like she has to share it because she wants people to know Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, even through her suffering. It was amazing. And she said how, you know, I was taking a mission trip. She was leading a mission trip to another continent, right? And she said, I had some tests before that, got to the airport. We're already like getting our bags. We're getting on the flight. Like, this is it. And she said, I got a phone call from my doctor and he said, you have to come immediately. You have stage 4 cancer. You cannot leave the country. Come and get treatment immediately. And she said, she was like, what do I do? Right? And she said, you know what? God knew that I was going to get this phone call today. This doesn't surprise him. And so she still went to the trip. No way. 2-week trip. Her team didn't even know. She just depended on the Lord. Got back, started her treatment, and she's still here today. Those are the type of stories of people. And you know, one of the things that I've learned that is beautiful in that lady's story, stage 4 cancer, here serving the community, has every reason to be like, no, I can't do this, right? Yeah. One of the things that I learned through watching her do that, and I saw like with my own eyes, was the beauty of one thing that God does offer us through serving others. Jesus said in Acts 20:35, it's more blessed to give than to receive. Right? You're happier giving than receiving. Like, people think money, but it could be, but just giving, right? In general, she was literally happier giving than just receiving in serving the community, right? And it made me realize the truth of God heals us from our traumas, our pain, our things that we've been through and are going through. He heals us as we serve others.
Dang,
right?
That's cool.
It made me think of a pastor that lost his son to suicide. And people were asking him, how do you continue? Like, how do you keep going? He's like, man, like, it's hard. He's like, but like the love that I had coming in from my son, when my son was here, my love comes in and it pours out to my son, right? But when my son died, the love stopped. Like, I didn't have anywhere to go. And that turns into grief. Because right? You can't give it. And he said, so I was like, I can either sit here with this grief and die myself, or I can open up another lane for this love to flow through. And so he started serving youth that were going through crisis and through suicide issues.
Wow.
Just like his son was. And that's how he continued to love. But how was he able to heal himself? Like, God healed him through serving others. Wow. And so it makes me think about people who right now are going through like terrible things, but they're just like wallowing. And I say that in a like respectful way, right? Because we all can do that and just kind of like close in and forget and disconnect. But as a Christian, God offers you the ability to do the opposite of what you think you should do, which is in the middle of your suffering, you start serving others. Yeah. And God doesn't just make you be distracted from your pain, he heals it. It's crazy. I've seen that happen.
Man, that's crazy. I know you read a comment to me about a particular case of someone who wrote.
Do you want me to read that one?
Share it, man. That was really cool.
I can find it. Yep. Okay. I don't know this person.
Because, I mean, we laugh and we're looking at like all the craziness, but I think it's important to reflect on what God is doing. And the cool thing for people to understand is the majority of people, they're strange. We don't know them.
The people we're helping?
Yes. They're complete strangers.
Yeah, somebody was telling me, man, y'all have a lot of people in your church. I was like,
no, I don't even know who they are.
Most people that we've been helped from our church, it's like maybe 50, 60, maybe more, a little more. I don't know. But of the 1,800 of them,
we have no idea who they are. Never met
before. And we're just able to help. But yeah, that part has been amazing as well. Because people would say like, other churches were reaching out and saying, hey, do y'all have stuff that we could give out
in our minds? We're
I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I can give you names. Like, blah, blah. No, like for our church members. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. But like, who else do you need for? Oh, no, just for our church members. We're good. I'm like, No. Like, you give to anybody. Like, help people. It don't have to just be at your church. You know, that part, I didn't understand that part. I didn't.
I'm glad we don't.
Okay, hold on. It was a lady that wrote me. I got to find it. Again, I don't know this person. Okay, I've never met this person. Still to this day, obviously, I've never met this person. And she reached out. Let me see. I want to say it was on TikTok, if I'm not mistaken. I think one day I'm probably gonna like edit the people's names and pictures out
and just post what they wrote. You should
like a long just line of all the things that people have posted, because I sit there and I read it and I'm just like, this is crazy. Okay, can I read it?
Yeah.
It's in Spanish. I'll translate it. She said, hey, you don't know me. I haven't been wanting to get on social media because it makes my anxiety just go crazy. I got here in 2005, fleeing from my country and fleeing from a stepfather that tried to kill me more than one time because I was defending my mom as he was abusing her. But my mom took his side and defended him. But I was also defending not only her, but my brothers. But they kicked me out of the house and I didn't have anywhere to go. And she explains a couple more details, but then she says, so then I came to the United States looking for help in 2005. From the first moment I got here to this country, I've suffered many abuses. And she didn't go into detail there. Right. She goes, but I never thought that somebody would do anything for me, to help me, or to lift up their own voice to defend my voice that I don't have, or the rights that I don't feel that I have as a human.
Yeah.
And she was saying thank you to me,
yeah.
Which is crazy. And she says, I have 2 children who've been born here in this country. And when I look at them and I see the sadness, and I see the sadness in them, but also the sadness that they see in me from having to feel like I have to hide, hiding for years. But now I can't hide anymore. The fear that is coming out is so evident, and the uneasiness that I feel every night when I go to sleep is unavoidable. But today, as I open my phone on social media that I don't want to look at, I saw your video, and for the first time, I saw someone raising their voice for me, and I felt like I was important, and I felt like God was showing me that He hasn't forgotten me. And dang, dude, and thank you for being a voice that we don't have. May God bless you. I was like, wow.
That's a oof moment, man.
Yeah. Dang, why'd you make me read that?
You should have let it out, man. I get some tissues for you, bro. But what I'm saying, man, it's important to, like, God gives us reminders of these beautiful moments. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I keep saying bittersweet because I wish the need for the moments didn't exist.
I agree.
You know?
I agree.
But you're right.
It breaks my, like, just simple things that I'm seeing that I wish I didn't have to see. Like, somebody shared a Ring camera of these kids playing outside, and they saw an unmarked car, and the fear in these little kids just trying to play outside just darted to go home. And I'm like, and my own kids are asking me questions. My son's asking me questions, and I'm just like,
and it goes back to the easy. I say easy, meaning like out of ignorance. Right. I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean it in a way that you're just not aware of. Somebody that will hear you say that, and they'll say, "You have nothing to be afraid of. You're legal."
You're legal, exactly.
And it's like, man, you don't understand. You know, and that's why I've said a lot of times, be blessed that you don't understand.
Be blessed that you don't understand.
You know, but don't take that lack of understanding as something to be privileged for. Rather ask questions and say, "Well, I don't understand." Right? And and most people take that and they'll hear me say that and they'll be like, "Oh, you mean I'm wrong?" I'm like, time out. I'm not talking about right or wrong. I'm just talking about understanding, like, not a point of view. I'm talking about understanding a person, like a human, a fellow human image bearer of God. Like, I wish that was the first reaction across the board. You know, I think that would change things. You mentioned the kids seeing like an unmarked car or something show up and run. It made me think about, and I shared this during the GoFundMe stuff because I wanted people to understand, like, a practical example. There's this lady that I'd been bringing to the doctor. She's a legal resident. She's only been here for a few months, actually. She's older. senior citizen, and I've been bringing her to the doctor. Well, I have and my wife has. We take turns, and because she undergoing tests for possibly that she might have cancer, and bringing her to the doctor. One of the days that we were there, I'm sitting in the waiting room, waiting for her to come out, and I started thinking, man, how these issues, this immigration stuff, affects daily life. Both of her kids, adult kids, have work permits, but because they've seen so many people with work permits being taken, right? They don't want to risk, and I totally understand. 100%. Like, just don't risk it. So I bring her to the doctor, but in my mind, I started thinking in the waiting room, what if this is the day that the doctor calls me in and says, "Hey, can you translate to her diagnosis?" And let's say it's the day, and she has cancer. I shouldn't be the one. You shouldn't
be the one there.
I shouldn't be here. Her kids, her family should be surrounding her, hugging her, loving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was one thing that hurt. Luckily, that day didn't happen. She came out, translated a few things. The doctor was so nice. It really impacted me, just how kind he was. Just in general, just understanding the need for translation. It was really beautiful. It made me feel really good just in that moment. We got in the car and we're driving home, and we're talking or whatever. And I said, "Hey, you've been here for 2 months. Just as an older lady, you're from another country. You don't speak the language. You're a legal resident. You're here. You've been here for 2 months. What have been some of your favorite moments?" And she said, "I have a few, but the thing that sticks out the most," she said, "I love that every day when my grandsons come home from school, the first thing we do is we walk out. We go in the neighborhood and we go for a walk around the block." She's like, "That's really been amazing for me." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I was smiling. And then her face kind of dropped. And I was like, "What?" And she was like, but lately, because of all the immigration stuff going on, we can't do that. We can't go for a walk." And I heard her say that, and I understood, right? Because of everything.
Because you understand.
I don't need to go, "Well, you're legal. What you got to be afraid of?
Walk around prideful, girl.
Come on, girl. Those kids are citizens, and you're a legal resident. You might not be afraid."
That 1%, man.
Yeah.
That 1%.
And it hit me, because I was just like, man, that is one example of millions.
Yeah.
Right? And not only is it this elderly lady experiencing that, but then I obviously go, what do her kids think?
No, one of the things in the video that I filmed was encouraging our church members, hey, if you have kids in a school, call the school and see if there's any way you can help give some kids rides, right?
Yeah.
Just because parents, especially parents, are just locked in, right? Right. And I had this one girl from the church call me crying. And I was like, "What's up?" She said, "No, there's this one little girl that we pick up for school every day." And she, I was asking her, it was after the break, "How was your break? How was everything?" And in her head, she's thinking about what she did, right? The kids went out for breakfast and cooking presents. And this little girl, all she said was "Guess what I did for the break?" She's like, "What?" "I went to the grocery store." And she was just and the kids in the car were like, "Oh, and?" But the mom was like, "Oh, no. That's awesome. That's so cool." She's like, "What did you do?" She's like, "I was just running up and down the aisles." I was like, "Yeah, oh, that hurts." She's like, "I don't know. What do I do with this information?" I'm like, just keep loving. Just keep showing up.
Yeah.
My kids hate going to the grocery store.
Yeah. Right.
For that little girl, man.
Yeah.
Going to the grocery store was like a treat.
Yeah.
Because she's been locked in.
Yeah.
That broke my heart, man.
Yeah. I think the more, not everybody, but the more we talk, anybody, because this is a conversation we're having, right? We happen to be filming it and recording it so other people hear it. But I know there's a lot of other conversations happening around tables and through text messages and just, like you said, people being like, "Whoa, wait, explain this to me. Why is it, one of the things that a common conversation that I've had with a lot of people, let's say white people, my people, when they're coming humbly saying "All right, hold on, time out. What's going on? Explain this to me." One of the things I've been able to tell them is to give them a very practical example. I'll give you an example. There's a gentleman in our church. He has a work permit, legal work permit. He has his license. He's been here for a few years. He's actually in process for residency. It's happening. It's happening. He hasn't left the house. It's been 2 months. He hasn't left the house. He's got kids, right? He hasn't left the house because, and that's where someone would jump in and say, "Well, if he's legal, he ain't got nothing to be afraid of." The thing is, if I put myself in his shoes, if there's a 0.1% chance that something might happen, and it might just be them stopping me, questioning me, and then letting me go. Right. But my kids are in the car, and all the things that happen, I am not going to risk that moment.
You're not.
it's not going to happen. Right. And so I told him, and in the beginning when this happened and he expressed that to me, I was like, don't worry, we got you. We'll bring your kids to school. Right. And it's not like we're out here doing something illegal. And it's like, we're bringing a dude's kids to school because of the situation that's happening. I'm in it. You're in it. We understand it. But your average person that's like outside of the moment, if their first thought when they hear me say that is, but he's legal, shouldn't be afraid. Is, man, you have the privilege of not understanding. Yeah. Right. And like, that is something that I know for me, it hurts me when I hear people talk like that. Because I'm just like, man, it's such a deep issue. And it makes me think about that. And then another thing that I talked about in the beginning was those same type of situations, people who were legally here, because of that fear of like, what if? Man, people went out and they just like contacted lawyers and notaries to be able to sign over some type of legal document. It's not necessarily custody. It's kind of is, but it's more like saying like, if something happens to me as a parent and I'm deported to another country, like I give permission to this person to
handle the affairs of
to have my kids in their home so they're not put into some system, and then also to be able to travel with them internationally to be able to bring them to wherever I'm going, if that's even possible, which in most cases it's not, because it's not safe.
So crazy. People are hearing this, they're like, what?
Okay, I can't even say it, but like I've signed that document, bro. You know how crazy that moment was for me to sign that document.
I can't imagine.
And like looking at a father in his eyes and like, bro, it's crazy to me. Yeah. But when the day we signed the document, we were sitting around the table. And like, we know each other, but I'm like, man, we just started talking. It wasn't like a moment where I was like, hey, tell me your story. Like we were just, in conversation. Details of their story as a family that I didn't know about were coming out in the conversation. He was sharing, and we're all just sitting there and like just understanding the complexities of why they're even here in this country and all those things. And I sat there and I looked at him when we were done with the conversation. And I said, you know what's funny? It comes to my mind. You and I had this conversation. You know how healing and how things would change in this country if more people would do what we're doing right now, if more neighbors would sit around each other's tables in the home and just have a conversation, it would enlighten just people to go like, listen. Whoa, okay, time out.
And then don't listen just to respond, like listen, like ask questions. Let them matter to you. Like actually like friendships. Yeah. Yeah, man.
And I'll say this too, because I know people are like, we're illegally right. That's like I said, that's not, nobody's gonna listen and go, oh my gosh, I'm wrong. Right? I get it. Okay, fine. So I'll even say this, just so they understand. Right. There's been moments where, and this isn't just now, this has been even in the last decade. There's been moments where I've personally had people come and talk to me, and we assess their situation, get them connected to a lawyer and all these things. Right. And the answer for them is, you're not gonna be able to be here. Like, there's no way we're gonna be able to fix your status and your situation. And so how can we help you in the best way to self-deport? And if that means self-deporting to another country that isn't your home country because it's not safe there for you, like, let's figure it out. But here in the United States, like just right now, it's not an option for you. And we've been able to walk through that process with people, and they're in different countries right now. Right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's not like we're just saying like, oh, let's hide everybody. No, it's like, but people just go and straight in and hear what they want to hear. And that part, if it hurts me, it hurts you, right? In two different ways, right? You're Spanish, bro. You brown. It's like the day Bovino was standing there and he asked you, hey, what did he say? Are you a citizen? And I wanted to be like, bro, why don't you ask me, right? Because
there's even video of my face.
Yes.
I did that.
You mean mugged that boy. You're like, what?
No, I ain't gonna lie. It stung, man.
Right.
It stung.
It bothered you.
Absolutely, it bothered me. It bothered me.
Yeah.
I didn't react.
Yeah.
I really do feel like God was with me in that moment, man, because
I think you should mention that, dude, because I've mentioned it in a lot of conversations with people, because I'll be honest, that moment was very, I would say like organic in the sense of just the way they
how it happened. That was
physically
insane,
were close enough to us to where, like, because we weren't like, let's walk up to the dude and talk to him.
No.
It was kind of just like the way
it all just happened the way it needed to happen.
We were talking about it before. Like, if we hadn't gone to Sam's a few minutes before that
dressed the way that we were dressed.
Yeah, there was just a lot of factors. It was like the timing worked out. Just
at a funeral, right? Dressed not in your homeless outfit, looking like Mar from Home Alone. So we go to a funeral. We go to Sam's. We buy a whole bunch of stuff. We start dropping off food, and then it just happened so fast.
Yeah.
In Kenner.
Right. And the fact that all the factors that line up, that it wasn't just immigration officials there, but it happened to be Bovino, like
the main guy, and then people that we kind of knew some way somehow, and then it just happened the way it happened, man.
Yeah.
Like,
and well, the reason I bring that up is because
but it is crazy. Literally on the way to Kenner, you say, "Man, how cool would it be just to see Bovino face to face?"
For like a second.
Look him in his eye, just for a second, just to see him in his eyes. We're like, yeah, it's not gonna happen.
I told you the reason I said that is because I everything's spiritual, and I was like, I don't know, like I'm not over spiritualizing it, but I was like, I do want to just look the dude in his eye and just be like, man. And so I bring that up because the way everything worked out, like when he kind of looked at us and gave us like the head nod of like, what's up, kind of deal.
He was on the street. He said, let's walk on the sidewalk, where we were on the sidewalk. And even the positioning happened, right? So they were surrounding him. And then when they crossed it opened up, and he kind of like walked towards us.
Yes.
And just like acknowledged,
and then you were like, hey, how you doing?
And in my head, I was like, it was like a double dutch. Should I get in? I was like, whatever.
True. Yeah.
I was like, hey, how you doing, man?
Yeah.
And
then it just kind of started.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that up too, because just the way it worked out. I mean, after the fact, we're like, man, we should have done this.
Exactly. Yeah.
But even so, the way it worked out was, and I'm listening because I'm standing there right next to y'all when you started the conversation. And you asked him a very like real question. You said, how do you feel knowing that your presence in this community right now brings fear?
And the reason I said that, to be honest with you, is because this was my first time seeing Ice in person. I've never seen him in person before, let alone the main guy.
Yeah.
But when we got to Kenner and we saw everyone roll up, and we look up at the apartments.
And the windows.
We're looking at the windows, and these families.
Kids
are hiding like
behind the curtains.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like it hurt. Like they look like me. It really affected me.
Yeah.
So I was like, in my head, I'm like, if I have an opportunity to ask a question. And I told him this. I said, I know you've been asked this a million times.
Yeah.
But how does it feel like to know that you bring fear? He's like, I got asked that question 50 times just now.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to know.
And he said, nothing to fear.
There's nothing to fear if you're here legally.
Right.
And then I told him, I say, wait, hold up. That sounds like a default answer. That's your default answer. Like
it's like your reporter answer.
Yeah, it's just your trained media training.
Yep.
Like that's. And then he looks at me, he goes, no, there's nothing to fear if you're here legally. And I said, that's not true. There's people here who are being detained, who are being questioned, who are being deported, who are here legally in asylum cases in process. And he goes, who?
Right.
He said, are you here legally?
Right.
Are you? How do you say?
No, he said who?
Who? And I said, I'm not going to answer that. I said, I'm not going to answer that.
And then he said, are you a citizen?
Are you a citizen?
Yeah.
And I took a microsecond to just kind of pause, like,
yeah.
Because there's a lot I wanted to say.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I am.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, obviously I am. We're going to come up to you if I'm not,
right.
you know?
Right.
But it didn't, it affected me, man.
Yeah.
I've been asked that maybe once or twice in my life, and I never liked it.
Right.
You know, because he didn't ask you that.
I'm
right
jokingly,
next to me.
But like,
no, he didn't ask you that.
In the moment, I should have been like, sir, why do you ask me? Meaning like, exactly. I'm white. Why, ask me. But just to reinforce
the way you're dressed, you're like, that's Justin Timberlake. Who's going to his housekeeper's with him. Just joking.
But that's what I mean.
No, 100%. I get it.
Yeah.
But he was just looking at you like, not asking you.
Right. And when you asked him how he was doing, he said, better than I deserve.
Better than I deserve.
And I took that little.
I didn't make the connection. Yeah. But you did.
It just like clicked in my brain. My brain. It clicked in my brain like that's a Dave Ramsey phrase. And I know Dave Ramsey, whatever. And so after when you were done talking, you looked at me and you're like, tell him. I don't know what you said.
I said, Dave, you got anything?
I was like, yep. I jumped right in. I'm like, hey, you said when he asked you how you doing, you said better than you deserve. I was like, I know that phrase. That's a Dave Ramsey phrase. And he said, oh, yeah. And then I said, you know who Dave Ramsey is? And he said, yeah, I know Dave Ramsey. He's like, but I'm older than Dave Ramsey. I've been using that phrase longer. Like joking, right? Whatever. Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then I just jumped.
The funny thing, the reason why your wife sent that picture is because as soon as we were talking about Dave Ramsey, there was a picture of us smiling together.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, my God, this picture.
Yes.
But what's crazy is I remember in that before, like I was like, David, say something. I was like, hey, the reason I asked, I said, I'm a pastor of a church.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people in my congregation that are fearful right now. And he was like, okay, you're a pastor. Okay. You have illegals in your church. And again, I did the face that I kind of disagree face. Like, I went like that. I was like, I'm not going to answer that question.
Yeah.
He's like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, David, I'm like, I got the other bastard. Get in here, bro. Tag team, 1-2 punch. Come on, what you got?
Yeah. And so that's why when he said the Dave Ramsey phrase, that's why I was like, so you know Dave Ramsey? And I was like, Dave Ramsey's like openly publicly
Christian,
like professing like real deal Christian.
Yeah.
Right? And he was like, oh yeah. And I was like, so are you a Christian? And what'd he say?
He's like, oh, of course I am. Or something like that. Of course I am. Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And then he said to me, are you
a Christian?
Yeah. I was like, yes, I'm actually a pastor, local pastor. And he, oh, really? What denomination? And I said, Baptist. And he said, oh, mainliners. Which,
y'all are mainliners.
When he said mainliners, honestly, I heard his accent too. And I was going to go down a whole nother.
I heard that.
Because he said A, which is like a northern Canadian thing. My parents are from Canada. I was going to jump in and be like, oh, huh.
I heard it.
Like, you like poutine? You don't know what that is.
I don't know. I was like, boy, is that
poutine?
What is that?
It's a whole other conversation. You get it at like McDonald's.
It's like a moose thing or something?
No. Poutine. No. What is that? Like French fries with like gravy and cheese on it. You don't know that? Anyway, it's a Canadian thing.
Okay.
So I was gonna be like, yeah, you like poutine? No. But yeah, he said that, and then he said a phrase which I forgot at the time, but I went back and saw there's a video and I could hear. He said, interestingly enough, he said, oh, when we said Baptist, he said, oh, so you got the word in you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that is precisely the reason why I'm asking you if you're a Christian. Because I do have, you're right.
Yeah, like, we do. Yeah.
I do have the word in me. And the word would affect me.
Everything.
I wouldn't be
every
able to
decision,
do,
every interaction, everything.
Yeah. Because the thing is, we're just coming off seeing them also, and that's why your question to him, like how do you feel that your presence here brings fear, was a real question too, because right when they pulled up and got out of the car, it was like a social media thing, right? Like he got out the car and literally
just walked around.
You heard the first thing he said though when he got out.
I heard.
He said, "Where do y'all want me?" Meaning like, where do you want me to stand for the shot?
For the shots. Yeah.
And I was just like, it's weird. And that's when we started walking a little closer, but then we both were like,
let's get out of here.
Nah, let's get out of here. This ain't for us. Like this ain't this ain't for us.
I was like, let's get out of here, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
and then we backed off, but then they walked back to their cars, and that's how we ran into them. But yeah, and then that was a moment just like, I don't know. There's so many things, man, that have happened even ever since then. Just because the whole immigration conversation and even social media presence has popped off even more. Like just this week, the lady who was shot and killed, right? Dude, that's a whole. That's a whole nother. It's a whole thing, but it's also a good example of the same principle of what I'm saying is, whatever situation that you become aware of, right? Whether there's video of it or whatever, and you hear about it, like I'm talking for Christians, the first reaction isn't like what political party was she and what was she doing there and what was she doing? For? You know what I mean? It's just like my first reaction is, bro, regardless, died, like, dude, someone was shot. Like that's whoa, right? And then you can tell that everybody's preconceived and like all their just background of political whatever is what determines their opinion, even on what the video evidence shows. Regardless, like, I don't know. My first thing when I thought after like just being like, this sucks is, man, I've always, even as I'll say this, like, even as like a white dude, like as a kid, not that like it's like necessarily taught, but like your idea of police is protect and serve, safety, right? Yeah. Safety. And then not only that, but the word, like, I don't think it's said as a kid, but like the word is like, they're there to like calm things. The word they use now is de-escalate, right? But it seems like the opposite is I don't want to say true, but like the opposite is obvious in so many different cases. And I don't want to like clump this into everybody's bad because they're not. But they're not. But there are moments where like, especially now with social media and the viral just video presence of so many things where like you look at something and you're like, man, that was preventable. Like that could have been 100%. Easily de-escalated, right? Regardless of whatever, right and wrong, like what the person was doing, all that. But like,
because I've seen footage, man, of like cops and federal agents like approach people with respect. I've seen it. They're like, hey, I'm just letting you know, like I'm here to like, and you see the situation de-escalate, but that's not what's happening right now. Because
it's funny because they come in and they are a position of authority.
They are.
Agreeing. Yeah. I'm agreeing.
Yeah.
Like they are.
Yeah.
And so because of that position of authority, you kind of dictate
you do.
You dictate I'm not saying perfect. I'm not talking about like a crazy thing with somebody running around already like committing crimes. I'm talking about a moment like where it's just like, all right, I'm walking in, things might be a little heated, but like I can bring in some sense of calm right now. Right. It's like anybody with the position of authority can do that. There's been times I've been thinking like as a pastor, I've walked in on a conflict between people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I could walk in and I could escalate it.
I know you could.
How easily
I know how to do it, what to say,
because
how to say.
I have a position of authority too. I can make the situation a million times worse, or I can make it a million times better.
Yeah.
That's because you come in with a position of authority, right? And so people are like, okay, well, hold up, Right. And the thing is that as more and more moments like these happen, what's happening is their perception of being authority is being eroded, though. Meaning like it's being less, like not saying that they're not, right? What I'm saying is you're having people right now, but even like you got to think generationally, like as people are growing up, like kids, we have a whole generation of kids who are like, they're growing up on social media and everything is viral and they're basing opinions based on what they see. It's terrible, honestly. But they're growing up and seeing, regardless of what people around them tell them,
our understanding of how authority was.
And they're telling you that this is authority, but then you see moments like this online and you're like, whoa, that's not true. And so you're coming in, right? But you have two different worlds that are clashing because you can have a police officer or an authority figure walk in and assume that this person understands that they're an authority figure.
And not anymore.
And it's like, whoa, you don't know all of the years
stuff I've seen.
And I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying that you got to understand like those two moments and worlds are colliding now.
Yeah. And so I think that's why, going right back to what you said earlier, man, the gospel, Christ, if you, like even our interaction with Ice and Bovino, like,
oh yeah,
I never disrespected the guy.
People ask me, sorry.
Like everything, I got a lot of comments, you should have said this, you should have said that. Yep. Man, blah, blah, blah.
I would have done this.
I would have done this. So I'm like, first off, I'm glad it happened the way, like, I can't preach Christ and then hate and disrespect. You're just not going to, even though I feel like that person fully deserves it.
Correct.
Because we're not called to live out our flesh. We're not called to live out my impulses and I want to, deep down, I'm sure you want to do, but we can't. Yeah. We don't have the luxury of doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
people were texting me screenshots because you see my face and I'm just like, I know. Because I was, man. I'm fueled, right?
Yeah.
But
you look locked in. You were just like
locked in.
Processing everything.
I'm thinking, I was staring at his eyes, like all this, right? But like in no way.
You're like, don't take my friend.
I'm like, he's with me. But in no way. No, and I'm being honest. In no way was I ever thinking, "Oh, I'm mad. I'm going to do this or that." Man. Right? Because why though? There's no point. But also, it's because, like, I think I've mentioned a million times. Every time we sit down at this table and have this podcast, it comes up all the time. I feel like it's more and more relevant as things get worse and worse, like as things are going on. But also, I think there's a lot of things that people got to understand, and one of them is, yes, things are terrible right now, and not to be like. What I say right now to like diminish the things that are terrible because they are, but like historically, and even biblically historically, things have like there's been things that are bad, right? Yeah. Like Emperor Nero, like burning Christians in the street, like he would light them on with oil so he could walk in his garden at night and burn them alive. Like that's not happening right now. But here, talk about other countries, like the crazy things are happening. What I'm saying is like even in the midst of that, you can go back even further, like the times of Daniel. Let's say Daniel has the moment, like Nebuchadnezzar is the guy, he's the Bovino, and he's in the streets walking with him. If Daniel in that moment
the way he wanted to react,
yells, screams, spits, it's done. His whole story's done. It's all over. Exactly. The story's done, though. That's where it ends.
It ends.
Right?
It ends right
there.
But
what did Daniel do? He humbly served even his enemies, right? And serving the Lord, but like that was expressed in service to the people around him who happened to be his enemies. And he did it with excellence and he did it with patience and he did all those things. And what did that do? God ascended him to places that he never would have been before. Yeah, that's true. Put him around and at tables of people that he had influence and he eventually had influence over, right? To where he was able to do things that, God was able to do things through him that would never would have happened if in the beginning he would have allowed his human fleshly emotions to just take over. And that's like a big thing for me because I wasn't like thinking that in the moment with your boy, but like I was like when people after were like, well, why didn't you do this? I'm like, what would that have done? Yeah. What would that have benefited?
Contributes nothing.
Who does that promote? It promotes me. Promotes my flesh. Right? Like I don't live for myself.
Right. There was even a video in viral in the community of a young girl praying for him. I thought it was awesome.
Man, that was amazing. Awesome. It was beautiful.
That was cool.
I felt like, I'll be honest, when I saw that, I was like, because we had talked about it, like, dang, I wish we would have had a moment to pray for him. Yeah. I felt like, but we did. Like every Christian did. Because it's not like just this one person. Who are we talking to? We're talking to God. Like God's doing his thing. It was like it was a cool, like visual like expression of what the church is.
Yeah.
Meaning like what you do, I do. Like we do it together.
Yeah.
Like I felt really cool when I saw that. I was like,
that was really cool.
Really cool.
A young girl too.
Yeah, man, it's bold.
Yeah,
I was like, it's really cool.
Good for her.
There's a lot of things, but I hate that dude. I want to.
Yeah, filthy sinner.
I want to. Yeah. I'll be honest. In my flesh, I want to.
Yeah.
But it's like, even that is like, man, whoa, God's done a lot in me. Because if this was however many years ago, I don't know what I'd be doing.
I know exactly. You'll be red. You'll be sweating. You'll be
oh yeah. Like
doing your faces.
Yeah. But I just feel like there's things that people need to hear and people. But the bottom line, if I had to like summarize this conversation, but I feel like every conversation, regardless of the topic, could be immigration and ICE, or could be anything. It's the humility to like you said. I said end the conversation, but you're right. We should start the conversation saying like everything I'm about to say right now, I could be wrong. And help me to understand. Thoughts, but not also. But I'm not saying that in a vulnerable like I'm wrong way. I'm saying
not a gaslight way either.
I could be right too. But like
sure,
but also like together we could learn from each other, right? Yeah. But and it comes back to the same thing. And we'll end with this. I will say it comes back to the truth of God and His Word, because what the world does, even if the world gets to a point where they can have that conversation, what's the baseline though? What's the foundation for their understanding? What is it like to say, okay, we agree upon what?
Right.
We're agreeing upon each other's opinions, our life experiences? No. There has to be some type of absolute truth that exists, right? Regardless if I want it to be true or not, right? You ever seen the bumper stickers that say, God said it, I believe it, that settles it. There's like a bumper sticker that used to be famous. And it's funny because cool, it sounds nice. It says, God says it, I believe it, that settles it, right? But you can take out the I believe it part because it don't matter.
It doesn't matter if you believe it or not.
God said it and that settles it. It doesn't matter if I believe it or not. Right. And that you have to come humbly and say, that's true, right? And so that even goes into like my interpretation of Scripture and like your interpretation of Scripture, right? Those are interpretations. Like we need to be able to come and say, man, God is so good that He tells us in His words that we can get wisdom. And one of the best ways to get wisdom about what He wants is if we come humbly together and work it out together. Mm-hmm. Like even the division in this world right now presents Christians with the opportunity to be like, whoa, what are we doing? We live in these isolated, like churchy lives where we show up for an hour and a half on a Sunday. That ain't going to cut it. Like we got to come in together and do this life together, even when it's hard, and show the world what it looks like to have different people, different backgrounds, different races, different languages come together. And the world is like, whoa, time out. How do y'all do that? Right. And we're like, we're not. It's like, it's Christ in us. Like, that's the only way.
And even through this, man, like people have come to serve who still don't get what's happening.
You should mention that because I think that's cool.
No, for real. Like, because my context is different. Like, I have Americans in my church that have no fear of anything going on.
Right.
But because they see our communication has been like, kids are hungry, parents can't work, be a part of this or don't be a part of this.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't understand what's happening.
Right.
Like, I really don't get it.
Yeah.
I can ask some questions, but I mean, I can drop some food off.
Yep.
And I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
Right.
Like, a representation. I saw, like what you were saying earlier, I saw this one pastor. I forgot exactly how it goes. He said, if you read Scripture and it challenges your opinion, change your opinion. Like, there's no, like you said, it's the baseline for everything that we do.
Right.
So, the people who are coming in to serve, like they're at a point where they're like, I kind of don't agree fully.
Yeah.
But there's a need.
Yeah.
And even having other leaders and other pastors call me, they're like, what can I do to help? I can't promote. I'm like, it's whatever. We're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
But they want to know. And they're asking questions. That's a win, man. Yeah. I feel like that's a win.
Yeah. Yeah,
I can't get.
I will. I don't care. People cancel me. I don't care. I will say this though. I think I say that a lot. I will say this though. Meaning like I'm gonna say it anyway.
You say that.
I say all that to say. Or long story short.
Or literalmente. Go ahead.
Yeah. But there was a moment. I don't know how much detail I should share on this. But there was a moment where I got to where we were like doing the food distribution and stuff. I got there early one morning, and there was like a random van in the front, like, and I looked, and I remember like, and there was two dudes in the van, you know, who knows?
Oh, I remember.
But they had vests. Yeah. From my perspective, it looked like, okay. And right when I pulled up and got out, they were like looking at me, and then they drove off, right? Later on, maybe like an hour later, as like volunteers were showing up and stuff, and we were all there, I was standing there. I don't know if I shared this with you or not. I feel like I did. We're standing there, and people are helping, right? And I thought, what if that was like some type of, you know, like intimidation moment, right? What if they did pull up back here? I'm like, dude, I started looking around at all of our volunteers. They're all young, like just people, right? And I think that day they happened to all be Hispanic though. Like American, meaning like
me.
Meaning like second, third generation,
Yeah,
but just like, you know, they
right.
don't look like me.
Yeah.
And I thought, what if like there was a moment where like, I don't know, immigration or whoever showed up to just be like, hey, what are y'all doing?
What are y'all doing here? Yeah.
Cool, you can ask that too. Like nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying because of everything going on, it would be like an intimidating moment, right? Or it could be. Or it could be like a whoa, right? Even though nobody's doing anything wrong, we're cool, like no problem. But I thought, and I said, what if there was like an old, white, respected,
in a suit,
local pastor here with us right now, making these food bags,
yeah,
and something like that would happen. The whole environment and dynamic would change.
the whole approach would change.
Yeah,
Everything.
and which sucks because it shouldn't be like that. But it's also like makes you go like, yeah. And I don't mean just I say white because I'm white, but it could be any like non-immigrant or like majority culture person who loves their neighbor. I'm not saying they don't. Like I wish they would understand the position and
The
voice
influence
that they do have, because it does go farther. Right?
Than what you and I
I've been
could
in
ever
this
do,
game
you know?
so long that now it's funny because I'll speak and I'll say something in English and I'll say it to my English speaking, you know, like Caucasian
They don't
brothers.
take it. They don't hear
They don't
you.
take it that way.
No,
They're
they
like,
don't take
this
it.
dude's Spanish. Like in the sense of like, he's in like he does that make sense?
Just
like
cross the lines.
meaning
or-
like he's saying because he's in it over there. Cool. And yes. I mean, yeah.
Really, but I'm still me, man.
But I'm still, but if like an older dude comes out who has no skin in the game on any of that, and he's just like, hey, but time out, like let's love our neighbor, regardless of what they look like. I feel like that voice is much louder.
It
and
is.
I wish there were more of those voices.
And I did see some, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
They have.
And
I was like, wow,
It was
that's
great.
amazing, man.
Yes.
Like, thank you so. Literally wrote them, thank you so
Me too.
much. Like that means a lot.
Yeah.
I do wish there was a lot more.
I just imagine, what if that was multiplied by 1 million? Imagine 1 million pastors.
That
coming
guy's
out.
pastor, that deacon's pastor.
Yeah, and coming out. And I'm not saying, again, correct.
Yeah.
I'm not saying talk about political stuff even. I'm just saying,
Sure. Yeah,
you can have your perspective and opinion and the whole like legal stuff. Fine, cool. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying like come out and say, whoa, time out. We need a pause. Look at what's happening. You can talk about how the media is putting it. We've seen way too much to where like a lot of this is real. It's happening.
No, it's really happening. Yeah.
So like, what if all these louder voices would come out and say, hey, time out. And all of our states in this whole country, pause, time out. This is not the way, right? Like let's just table things for a second. Everybody calm down. Like, let's calm down. We got to come to the table and talk. Like this is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you ask me, what are all the deciding factors that make me say something like that, where this needs to stop and pause? You can go to the legal stuff and you can have your opinions and we can go back and forth on it. Cool. My thing is, at the end of the day, I have seen too much trauma on children. Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah.
Towards like too much.
Same.
To where like I'm driving a little boy to school and he tells me how he threw up the night before because he's so scared. He's 7. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that's unnecessary. Like there's a better way. There has to be a better way. And then again, the things that we've seen even in other countries, like how this has affected things.
But my daughter, she asked me the other day, she's like, I got a question. She's like, what? She's like, now that you met him, the guy, if you get pulled over, you're not at risk, right? And I was like, what do you mean by that? Yeah, because people already saw you with him, so they know that you're legal. She's coming in.
All those types of, that's very interesting.
She's coming in with the perspective of, now that they know that you're legal,
they won't bother you.
They won't bother you. And it means they won't take my dad. And I was just sitting in the car like, I mean, I don't know, man. What I'm like, it's complicated, but I'm fine.
But that's a really good example to show you like how
she's never lived anywhere else, but
exactly. But I'm saying like
she don't know
her perspective is that, and hers times 1 million different kids in 1 million different situations. They all having these like they're filtering
everything based on what's happening. Yeah,
and that's it's complicated. And if she has you, she could talk to you.
Yeah.
Think about all these other kids that don't. Or, I don't even know. I think I say this a lot too. I don't know if I should say this, but I'll say it. One thing that I've seen too is the amount of hardworking, just like amazing, beautiful immigrant people who have migrated to this country under all different, whatever, forget the circumstances for a moment. Legal, not all that. Because that part about what I'm about to say is not even a factor. Because the majority of them, if not all of them, because I can't even imagine, I've never met anybody who hasn't, they have infused and created, I say created in a deep way, they've raised their children in this country to love this country, to respect this country.
That's how I was raised.
To contribute, to see it as a blessing from God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like appreciate education, like
and respect.
Think about all those things, right? And they had done that. They've lifted them up to be like that. And they've become that. And they are that, right? And then you can go back and look at different ages ranges of those kids. You have kids who are like 20s and 30s, right? Like you, but then you even go down, like even younger kids. That's how they've been here.
Yeah.
But now,
because they're appreciative of what they came from.
Yes. And now though, they're seeing, and I don't mean in general, but many are seeing, man, my parents who love this country have taught me how to love this country, respect this country, contribute to this country. They've been detained and deported and treated like trash by
the same people they taught me to love.
What do I do with that?
Right.
That is that's a scary thing, dude. Meaning
that's a
like
recipe for, man.
But it's just something that can affect in so many ways. But it's also like, man, I wish that going back to if people would sit around the table with their neighbors and understand that that's the reality, but it's easier to just paint them. I know illegals are all criminals, right?
Yeah.
It's a sad thing that people are so sheepish, like meaning like they're the masses where you just could, move them like sheep and they'll think whatever you put out, and they do, which is crazy. They don't think for themselves.
Wild.
Right? But it's terrible that we're in a situation where like things are so heightened that's like even a possibility for someone to think like that. Because
do you feel like as in the position that we are, like as pastors, we're refereeing the hate on both sides?
Yeah.
I feel that way.
Bro, absolutely. Because it's hard for me, but it's also something that I know because it's hard. It's even more the reason I gotta keep going, in the sense of I have people come to me, they're like, I hate because they took my mother.
Yeah.
They treated my mother like a dog. She was here with a work permit. She's been working.
Drug her out the car.
They drug her out the car. She's detained. I've had to go visit her in an ICE detention center and hear about how they're treating her. Like, and I hate, right? Yeah. And I have to say that I have to challenge that hate.
You have to. You have
to. Yeah. Right? To the same way, like you could have somebody on the other side.
Yes.
That says, I hate the illegal.
And I have.
And you have to challenge it.
And I have to challenge it.
It's hate, though, at the end of the day. Right. For wherever the source of it is hate, it has to be challenged. And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a difficult position to be in.
And then I come to realize, like, on the other side, right? The other side of the spectrum, people who hate illegals or any undocumented, whatever. It always stems from like a personal experience or a story of something that, and I'm just like, I always give this example. I'm like, I'll tell them I'm Honduran, like, even though I never lived there, but when I see news stories of like local Honduran man kills, I'm like, should I be like, that man represents me? I'm like, no, that man does not represent me.
Right.
Same story. Like, you cannot base your entire stance off of one really horrible experience.
Yeah.
And then because of that, and I don't deny that it happened.
Right.
But at the same time, like, once you have Christ, you can't have an encounter in Christ and remain the same. You just cannot.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Correct.
You cannot be indifferent to this anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, and refereeing that hate is
new
to me too.
Yep. And like I said, I always say this too. We're in with this, and then I say it like 100 times. We just keep going. But we will end with this. I'll say this. This is gonna sound controversial, but it's really not. I wish that people wouldn't hear it and it sound controversial. And again, I'll be honest. Like, there's a lot of times where I'm like, I'm just gonna shut everything off, and I'm not gonna even say anything anymore. I'm not gonna post anything. I'm not gonna I just want to throw my phone in the garbage and like forget it all. And I can't because the day and time that we live in, like viral things, social media things, all that, at the end of the day, for me, I just see it as another vehicle to promote the gospel. And so I can't turn that off, even though I want to.
I know you do.
I say that to say, there's a lot of things that I know when I say them, like, it's going to cause against me, but it's not, I know at the end of the day, it's not against me, hate, right? But it's not against me. I know that. Even if it was, who cares? I'm not worried about that. But I say that because if it brings awareness to where at least one person's like, all right, wait, time out. Why is he saying that? Like, if he's getting so much hate about that, why would he even why would he even care to say it? I'm not patting myself on the back because people have told me this. They're like, you white, you don't have to say nothing for us. You can keep your mouth shut and you're fine. Like, you open your mouth and then they hate on you, but they're hating on you because of us.
They just shut up. Yeah,
right. You could just shut up, and then I have people say, "Thank you for doing that," though. Right. Yeah. And so, preface all that to say, and this is gonna sound controversial, but it's like a report comes out in the news, a real report, like Latino man with legal work permit and driver's license was profiled or detained or deported. And the reaction by people is, well, he should have been a resident. Cool. Report. Latino man, resident of the United States, is profiled, detained, even deported. Well, the reaction, he should have been naturalized citizen, right? Well, then report comes out, a naturalized Latino that has been profiled, detained, or deported. And the reaction is, well, his parents should have brought him here to be born. Well, then you have a report that comes out, a U.S.-born Latino, descended from Latinos, was been profiled, detained, or deported. And they'll say, well, his parents should have been born here. Mm-hmm. Well, then you say, a Latino, that his family's from here, they've been born here, has been profiled, detained, or deported. Well, then what can the next reaction be? If you keep wanting to go with those reactions to justify your position for what's going on, the only thing left to say is, well, then he shouldn't have been Latino, right? Which is another way to say he should be white.
Pull a Michael Jackson, bud. Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody feels like that, but there are some people that feel like that. And as more and more injustices are brought to light and they keep doubling down, you're going to keep doubling down till you get to the point where the real reaction that you're saying is not just words coming out of your mouth, it's what's in your heart.
Yeah.
And if what's in your heart is hate, it's just being, right now, this is what's going on. So it's expressed this way, right? Yeah, it's gonna expose. And I'm not just saying this because of the ICE and Hispanic stuff. You probably express
everything's deeper than
hate to poor people, or maybe hate to African-American people, or hate to people that look different from you or speak different. There's hate is expressed in whatever way. You're just looking for a way to use an excuse and justify it to where it doesn't look like hate. It just looks like you're being righteous.
You're being moral.
Yeah, but you're actually not. And that is something that is being exposed. And that's sad and hurtful, but it's also, again, brings you back to the same thing. What's the answer? The answer is the gospel. Because somebody like that, I don't have an argument with them. And then at the end, they're like, you know what? You changed my opinion. Because then their opinion's going to change the next day and the next day. Opinions change all the time. You need your heart changed, just like I need my heart changed. Like, and Jesus does that.
And I've learned too, like I've had good conversations with people and they're unmovable. And I leave it like that. All right, bud.
Yeah.
Good luck. And I really do pray that God uses somebody else. We might not be the person. We might not be the person to ever see the change.
Yep.
Or ever see that perspective change.
Yeah.
Or their opinions change. But man, that gospel seed, I really do hope. And I always just ask challenging questions.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like it's not our job to change. We can't change anybody, man.
And this is what's going on today. And there's areas where people need to change. But like, I got stuff where I need to change too.
I don't.
You know what I mean?
That's 100%. Yeah.
People just jump on this. We're talking about it because it's relevant.
Next week will be something else. Following week will be something else.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, the answer is always going to be the gospel. It's always going to come back to that. It has to be. If it's not, then what are we doing? It's a very hopeless life to live. Right. Like I could work my whole life and be like a philanthropist and like really help the poor and everything, right? I could have a whole generation of poor people and raise them up, and the next generation, but maybe 10 generations from that, they're all going to be poor again. And like, what did I do? What was the purpose of my life? You know what I mean? It's like what people say, like in 50 years, nobody's going to know me. I'm going to be dead and nobody's going to remember me. Right? Like that's a reality for everybody. That's a really sad, like depressing reality.
Yeah.
If this is all there is. But
it's not.
Take that, Bovino.